In July 2021, I became eligible to apply for a pardon for the wrongful convictions of assaulting a police officer and obstruction. And again, I was convicted despite the contrary evidence, even by the Crown prosecutor, showing my innocence. And this whole nonsense started for me when in December 2012, when a female who was part of this sex trafficking of vulnerable women had falsely accused myself and another male coworker of some sort of sexual assault. And that is when I became personally involved in all this. Initially, I wanted to have evidence to vindicate myself, which I did obtain through audio recordings and even a few videos, secret videos that I made in the company of the female, always in public. And this escalated when two former police officers decided to do street justice on her behalf. Now, and I've talked about this extensively in other videos, there's also a PDF on my Facebook group that you can download where I do screenshots, unedited, where you can actually see how everything transpired. So going back to the pardon, in March of 2021, they raised the fees to apply for a pardon to almost $700. And there is all these other hidden fees, for example, obtaining certified copies of documents that the pardon office would already have access to. And so with all the fees and everything else, just to apply would be more than $1,000. And that's why in July of 2021, I couldn't afford to apply for a pardon. However, a friend of mine had contacted me with some, I guess you can call it good news. As of January 1st, 2022, they had dropped the fees back down to $50. And apparently what they were saying on the news was the fees for the pardons were out of control. And I would tend to agree. Now, you consider someone who actually committed a crime, made a mistake in life. Now they can't afford a pardon, and their life completely is shattered. That's not to forget the countless of innocent people who are wrongfully convicted, like myself. And apparently the news went on to say just that. People's lives are destroyed because they can't afford a pardon. Now, when somebody does commit a real crime, and even if they make a mistake in life, whatever their sentence is their, I guess you can say, their payback to society for their wrongdoing. Again, not to forget about the innocent people like myself who have been wrongfully convicted. So it is good news that they reduced the fee, or will be reducing the fee, to $50. And I still have to pay another fee on top of that, but it's still a fraction of what it has been this past year. But what really troubles me is the fact that I have to apply for a pardon for something that I did not do. And I remember after the first former officer had testified, the Crown prosecutor offered me a plea deal, which I rejected right off the top, which would have been a slap on the wrist. It would have had a conviction, but I would have been eligible for a pardon. So that was in 2013, 5 years, you have a criminal record. So I would have been eligible for a pardon years ago. I turned that down, and I turned down 2 other plea deals, which would have been a slap on the wrist. And initially, I believe it was in 2014, the Crown Prosecutor brought up the argument of a Section 11B charter argument, which is to be tried within a reasonable time. And back then, the precedent for that was R versus Askoff. I didn't even accept that, because by now, the first former officer had testified. And the things that he was saying, which had nothing to do with the alleged charges of obstruction and assaulting a police officer, he was adding all these peripheral things regarding the female. And even the Crown Prosecutor said he doesn't understand why the case had become so complicated. And then I finally did apply, or put an application in a motion for Section 11B charter argument after I was convicted, because it took them 6 months to sentence me. They dragged this on for 49 months. The Crown Prosecutor agreed that the trial lasted way more than a new precedent, which is R versus Jordan, to be tried within 18 months for a summary. In US would be called a misdemeanor. 18 months, and my whole case went on for 49 months. So it's good news that the fees have been lowered. However, the fact that I have to even go through it just stirs up all those old emotions of frustration and bitterness. But at least with a pardon, I'll be able to apply for work and not have to worry about a criminal record showing up. Mind you, an employer, for example, all they have to do is look me up online, watch my videos, and they'll know they'll know everything anyway. And the fact that the criminal trial judge took it upon himself to publish my conviction sure didn't help them, nor does it help me. But I mentioned that. I talk about this in other videos. So, for whatever it's worth, hopefully, come the new year, apply for my pardon, and I get my pardon.